Welcome to the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. This is Paul DeLegro, your host. My guest today is John de Jong with Alleycat Signs and Marketing. He's the president and founder. Is that correct, John?
That is correct, sir.
Great. So, John, the topic for today is how to be found out there in this big worldwide web. But I'd like to get into a little bit of your history because you're a seasoned veteran. You've been doing this for like 40 years. So tell us a little bit about your background and how we got to this point, and then we can dig into the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, I was just talking to your engineer in the background there, and she asked me if my last name was Dutch, which it is. So I'm a first-generation Canadian. My parents came over after the war, and I've been around entrepreneurship all my life. My father was a policeman, and then he became a business owner. And we went through a bankruptcy in 1973 when I was a kid, 1979 when I was a kid. So I've experienced the highs and the lows of business ownership as a kid and as an owner. So I always knew I wanted to be in business. I wanted to go to university, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And being Dutch, you just don't go spend 10, 20, 30, $100,000 on a university education if you don't know what you're going to do, right? Like that's just a waste of money.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, I got into sales and marketing when I was like 13 years old, working with my dad, and worked through the ranks, and eventually I became a sales manager and a business manager at a car dealership, kind of like the Roger Penske of Canada. It was the Jim Pattison Auto Group, and it was a great career, and I was making good six-figure income. We had 3 small kids. My wife was a stay-at-home mom, kind of the American dream, the Canadian dream. And then something really interesting happened. My appendix burst, and I was in emergency. Then I had my appendix removed, and my boss was calling me while I was in emergency saying, "John, when are you coming back to work?" And I mean, have you ever experienced anything like that yourself, Paul?
Not to that extent, but not to that extent. But it's kind of the way the business is today. It's like, okay, I remember when my youngest daughter was born, I took 1 day off. 1 day. Now people get paternity leave, and it's like you got to get back at it. It's kind of not a fan of the system, by the way.
Yeah. So as a manager, I was overseeing indirectly or directly 24 salespeople, and so I had to measure performance, and my personal performance went down by 40%. My skills hadn't changed. I'm still the same person working in the same place, but now the self-confidence, the belief that my upline had in me, actually it's kind of funny how you believe lies. Like all of a sudden you feel disenfranchised, but really the boss had a lot of faith in you. That's why he was calling you back. But it was a lack of respect, Paul, and I just couldn't work for him anymore. The company was great, but that boss, I couldn't work for him. So my wife and I, we remortgaged our house, and we bought a business, and we bought Alleycat Signs. And we doubled the mortgage on our house.
How many years ago was this, John?
So that was 17 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I'd never worked at a particular job, one company, for longer than 6 years. This company that I was at, I was there for 6 years. Now I've been doing this for 17 years. And I bought a sign business because I knew when business is good, and this is 2009, so this is just after the big crash, right? And you guys had it was the same thing here, but I believed so much in being able to make things work that I went into debt. And when business is good, people need signs. They need to be found. When business is bad, they need signs even more. They need to be found, right?
Makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that has never changed. It's been the same thing since, the first, doctor hung a shingle and said, "Dr. Smith, open for business," right? The difference is nowadays you need to be found on Google. And that means that, you can't just hang a shingle. I had one of my, a prospect that I'm working with today. He's got a billboard out on the highway. He's got a moving bus. What's the problem with that? Well, the problem with that is you have to be lucky that you have to have the right person driving by who has a need for your product at that particular point in time. Right. And they need a pen and paper in their hand so they can jot down your name and your phone number. Like it's that is not the way to build a business nowadays. It's there is a place for that. That's called
Sure.
branding, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So you bought the sign business. It sounds like, and this was obviously in 2008, where the internet was still pretty big at that point, but not like it is today. So what made you transition to actually starting your own kind of business of helping people grow their business?
Yeah.
When did that come in?
2020, this thing called COVID hit. Remember that?
Yeah. A little bit familiar with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
aren't we all, right? And I've been on some podcasts where people just want to talk about that, but that's in the past. But what happened was, as a sign shop, we were making decals for social distancing. I was going into hospitals and businesses, and we were doing other plexi screens and stuff like that. But I had to lay off my whole staff. We're small business, 5-6 people. One of which is my son. The other one is my wife. So it was just my wife and I working. And all of a sudden we had no business. So now I had to figure something else. Well, I had already started getting Google reviews. Jump back a couple of years before that. I had done some frosted etch for a lawyer's office, and I'll never forget. It was actually almost 10 years ago now. And Darren says to me, he goes, "John, that looks fantastic. Let me leave you a Google review." And I said, "What's that?"
Yeah.
I mean, I had a Google Place. I was smart enough to register for one of those, so the internet was around, but Google wasn't a thing. I mean, we were still using dial-up modems and stuff back then. But anyways, I had gotten one Google review, and then the worst thing is I never even replied to it for like 2 years. And so these are some of the things that I teach now is how to effectively be found on Google. But yeah, I just started asking for Google reviews. I remember I had looked at my position. I would encourage all business people, just take a look at yourself, take a look at your profile online, and I've got a free Viz quiz if you want to do that. But see where you stack up against your competition, because you don't have to be the best, right? It's like swimming with a shark. You don't have to be the fastest. You just have to not be the slowest, right?
That's a good line.
So I looked at my competition, and my son played college lacrosse, and there's literally, he could throw a lacrosse ball to 4 sign shops within my block here. So we're very condensed. So, there's lots of options for people to go out there and find what they're looking for. But you need to show up, number one. And the closest sign shop to me had 69 Google reviews, and I had 2. And I thought, I'll never catch up to this guy. Well, you know what? I just started asking for Google reviews, and I got 1, and then I had 2, and then I had 5, and then I had 10, and then I had 200. Now that was 8 years ago when I started asking for Google reviews. Okay. Now I have 800, and that same competitor who had 69, he's got 200. So he gets, you're going to get Google reviews. If you're good or you're bad, you're going to get them.
Yeah. One way or the other.
Right. The trick is to ask for them. So the answer to your question, Paul, is I had started getting Google reviews, and people started recognizing that I was a Google expert. So I just started teaching people how to do that. And so that's how I started.
Yeah, it's funny. You got me thinking about people asking for Google reviews. Like when I get them all the time now. I go to my dentist. Mm-hmm. I'll get a text an hour later. Hey, how was your experience at our office? Can you give us a review? And different services that I use are always asking for reviews. And I get it. I try to do a pretty good job, to be honest, of responding, because I know it's important to get those reviews out there. So I am experiencing what you're just talking about.
Yeah, and we have Jeff Bezos to thank for that, for Amazon, right? So everything on Amazon is sold now basically based on reviews. And you do it yourself. Like, when's the last time you took your wife out to a restaurant in an area of town that you didn't know, or maybe you're in a strange city or something like that? What's the first thing that people do? They look at their phones, right? Yeah. So, and I get people saying, well, I do marketing on Instagram or, Facebook or something like that. Sure, that's a place for marketing, but it's not a place for advertising. It's not a place where people look, they don't search there, right? I mean, do you use ChatGPT, or do you use Grok or anything? Have you used it for search at all?
Not for search, more for information, but not for searches.
Yeah. So that's a thing now. Like AI is here. And so I call it, actual or artificial intelligence. I coined this phrase called AI squared, and that's actual intelligence married to artificial intelligence. Because AI, when you first get it, so many people are trying to sell you AI right now. Like, don't do it unless you know what you're getting and you're willing to spend the time, and time is money, to invest in it to make it like you. It has to think like Paul. It has to be
Right.
Paul, to represent your company well. That's one of the things that I do is, so the AI square is my actual intelligence married to artificial intelligence. So while it's not you, it can portray some of your thoughts and your wisdom, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what people are looking for. People are not looking for knowledge. Knowledge is everywhere. AI is there. It's it's on the tip of your fingers with Google and that sort of thing.
Sure.
You can get knowledge anywhere. You need wisdom to grow your business, and you need
Yeah.
wisdom to help people find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right?
So you kind of did this, you started doing the Google reviews kind of just by happenstance, right? It just
Yep.
happened, and you're starting to see the value of it. How long before that point till the point where you said, okay, I know what the hell I'm doing. I can teach people to do this?
That was 4 or 5 years. It
Okay.
was, yeah, it was not an overnight thing. It was not part of my plan. It was, my plan was to build my own business, but I made lots of mistakes. I told you I didn't get a university degree, but I paid a lot for my education. I got to tell
Yeah.
you, you've heard of the SHK degree, School of Hard Knocks,
Yep.
right? So when I started figuring out how Google works and what it needed, then I started buying courses from people who had already learned, and I learned from their mistakes. I think that's wisdom, is learn from
Yeah.
other people, whether they're mistakes or whether they're positive experiences. You got to learn from both, right? Yeah, I know you've got kids. My wife and I, we have 3 sons, and I try to teach them, like, okay, this is how you do something, but when you see how not to do something, that is a more valuable lesson.
100%.
It's like a
Yeah.
Google review. A bad Google review is the best Google review
Yeah.
because it gives you an opportunity to tell your story. And that's what people
So,
want to know. People want to know, okay, this guy had a bad experience. What was the problem? Was it user error? Was it a product problem? Did the people not listen? Was it bad service? Was it, maybe my server was having a bad day because, she had a problem, couldn't get daycare for her kids? Whatever. There's always another side to the story, and it's your
sure.
obligation to tell your side of the story to make sure at least it's fair what's being put out there, and so
Yeah.
often it's not.
You got me thinking. I find it very hard to give bad reviews. Just, I don't want to dog on someone, like you said, maybe they had a bad day or this and that. I typically only give positive reviews. And if I don't give a review, it's because I don't want to be negative,
Right.
right? So
So
I
how
don't
does
know.
that improve your business if you're doing consulting and someone has a bad experience and you never hear about it? You only hear about good things,
100%. No, I agree. 100%.
right?
We I as a sales guy, I know if we lose a deal, and I like to go back to the customer and say, what did we do wrong? Why did we lose it?
Yeah.
So it could be, price, it could be technology, whatever. There's a myriad, but at
Yeah.
least you know now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, but you need to ask as a business owner. You need to ask, and don't just ask for, oh, can you give us a 5-star Google review? We're trying to get a 5 rating, and trust me, I've made those mistakes before. Now, what I say to clients is, I say, hey, Paul, thank you so much for doing business with Alley Cat Signs and Marketing. If you think it's appropriate, would you mind leaving us a 4 or a 5-star Google review? And if not, please let us know, what we could have done better. So you don't ask for perfection because, no one's looking for perfection. No one's expecting
Yeah.
perfection. And in Canada, like we're known for being polite, so we won't we won't be rude to you usually, but we're not going to give you a 5 either, because we just kind of expect a 4. We know no one achieves perfection, right? Now, that
Right.
being said, I do get lots of 5 stars, but the 1 stars that I have are usually about me personally, because my team works really, really hard to do a good job, and when we screw up, and we do, we own it and we
Right.
apologize for it, and then we try to fix it. Now, sometimes you just can't. But the 1-star Google reviews are usually against me personally, because I have a strong personality. I will tell you that is not a good sign. I don't recommend that. Now, if you want me to do that for you, I'll do that. But you will get my my input as an experienced marketer to tell
I
you
was
what
going
you
to
should do
say
better.
that's your job, right? Like, when you want to go buy a suit, you go to a tailor because that's what they do. Like, I'm not a tailor,
Right.
right?
Right. But the thing is, the difference is a lot of people, let's say you were a tailor, or let's say you were a consumer looking for a suit and you designed your own suit and you wanted someone to go make it for you. People are so in love with their own designs that they're in love with the artistry, but not the practicality. Well, your sign is not supposed to be a piece of art. Your sign is supposed to attract attention, it's supposed to get people to come to you to do business with you for whatever it is that you do.
Yeah.
I was just driving down the road yesterday and I saw a sign for something landscaping. I couldn't read the something because it was so pretty, right?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you obviously bought this sign company, and we get it. There's signs of all different shapes, sizes. Are you transitioning to really just kind of how to get people found part of your business? Or are you still kind of running parallel paths here? Like the sign business is still up and strong, and then the other business, the marketing business, is going strong as
Yeah.
well.
Great question. So there's a synergy here now, Paul. I wanted actually to get to the point where I could just sell off the sign business and someone else could take over it and have a great thing. But the sign business is bringing me people who want to get found on the street. So now I'm actually downselling them from getting found on the street. Like, yes, you need that, but like the school or like the bus or the billboard, you don't need a great sign to attract attention. What you need to do is you need to be online to get found where people are searching when they have a need. So I'm actually running both in parallel now.
Okay, cool. Now, and I don't expect you to give numbers, but since you've started doing this the last 4 to 5 years, on a percentage basis, how much has your business grown?
Yeah, so great question. My business has grown. I've increased the digital marketing side of the business to 25% while still running a full-time business, right? So it's been very much an incremental growth, but it's a profitable side of the business. It's something I'm very passionate about. Like, I don't do the technical stuff of making the signs and designing the signs. I give ideas, but I have a team of designers and I have a
Yeah.
production team that does that kind of stuff. But on the digital marketing side, I am so passionate about it because I can tell you things that work and things that don't. I've had clients that I made, okay, we talk about AI. We use AI to help optimize your Google business profile. That's one of the most important things. The foundations for getting found on Google is your Google business profile. We use AI to do that. So do tons of other companies.
Yeah.
But what I've found is using the same AI that other companies use, because I set that up as a foundation. But remember, I train it with my actual intelligence. I made one change to a realtor's Google business profile that AI didn't pick up on. It made an 8,477% increase in his visibility.
Wow.
Right? So this is where experience trumps knowledge, wisdom
Sure.
trumps knowledge almost all the time.
Yeah, no, that's a great story. One thing I like about what you do, anytime there's, when you sell a sign, you've got to design it, you've got to buy product, right? The labor to make the sign, whatever, if it's a printed sign or channel letters or whatever the heck you guys do, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cost to that.
Yeah.
On the other side, on the other part of it, it's all margin, right? I would think.
A lot of it is, yeah. So
Yeah.
I've got a few licensing fees and stuff like that I pay on a monthly basis to use the AIs. But, once I've customized it, I'm able to really streamline the effectiveness of it, which is what I really love. And then that one son of our three boys, the one that played lacrosse, he now lives in Phoenix, and we've got two grandsons down there. So we love to go down there. So the great thing is, I just take my laptop with me,
Yeah.
and I'm getting found on Google, and it's going into my CRM, and then I'm getting an alert, and then the person said, then I correspond with them. I really believe in correspondences. All this automation stuff is good. Being the first to reach to a lead is very, very important, but you need to have a personal connection, and that's, to me, that's very important.
Yeah. So do
So
you respond? Do you respond to all your Google reviews and things that people say and people that find you personally?
yes, yes.
Okay.
Now I do have an AI that will do that for you, but it will still send you a proof so that you can authorize it, or it can automatically reply to it on your behalf But yeah, it is so important to reply to every single Google review. We talked about the negative ones. Of course, the positive ones are important as well. Think about going to a restaurant, for me, if I'm down in the southern states, I'm going to go to barbecue, some sort of barbecue. So let's say I go to, Sticky Ribs, and then I say to the waitress, "Is the chef here today?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, he's in the back." And I said, "Can he come out? I just want to say thank you and how great it was." And the chef comes out, and it's Eddie from Sticky Ribs. And I said, "Hey,
Yeah.
Eddie, I'm so glad I came here. I found you on Google. It was absolutely fantastic. The ribs are great." And Eddie turns around and walks away. He doesn't respond to me. He doesn't reply to me. Think of what you're doing when a client leaves you a Google review and they say, "Hey, Paul, thank you so much for that podcast. It was fantastic. I learned a ton of things and you've impacted my business and my margins going up and blah, blah, blah." And you don't reply to them. That's just like you going to a restaurant and leaving a Google review or leaving the chef a compliment, giving him a compliment. And he turns and walks away, right? Think how much more impactful it is when you leave when a client leaves a review and then you reply to it and then you're able to put keywords into there and you're able to personalize it and you go, "Paul, I'm so glad that you found the podcast beneficial. I'm glad, we're really excited about building up businesses. That's why we got people like John coming on and stuff like that. And it you know what? You're helping me accomplish my mission. Thank you so much for giving me the positive feedback." That's like what we were talking about before. So a review is important, but the flip side to the review is just as important, if not more so, because you're doubling down on the Google algorithm. You're feeding the Google algorithm exactly what it wants.
Yeah. So what are some of the common mistakes people make when that's one of them obviously, but I've got a business and I'm trying to grow it. What do you think the common mistakes from a marketing standpoint people make, or I guess say people that they don't do things the right way?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. So the first thing that we don't do is we don't ask. Let me put it this way. When you come into my store, on the front of my store, it says, 810 Google reviews or whatever it is that we have. And I change that on a weekly basis. So the client just walking into the store knows, wow, these guys they've got lots of reviews. B, they're probably going to ask me for a Google review. Okay. So you're prepping them, you're educating them that you're going to ask for a Google review. Then when we do finally get through the process, a lot of people don't ask. Secondly, they don't make it easy to ask. So this is one of the things that I've learned. I won't go into that, but I just want to tell you that you should get a card like this that has an NFC tap or a QR code on the back. You can get them from me. You can get them online. The thing that I like about this is it gets a client, all they do is they tap it, just like paying for your Starbucks latte. You just tap it and boom, they're at your Google business profile in like 3 seconds, right?
Wow.
And then you can have a tool which we make available, we sell, that will actually use AI and it'll prompt them and go, "What did you like about Alley Cat Science? Did you get an A-frame? Did you get a Google business profile card? Did you get this or that?" And they tap the 2 or 3 things that they liked and the AI writes it for them. And then they can go submit, boom, and it's done. So it's all
Makes
about
it easy for them.
Make it as easy as possible, right?
Yeah.
Now,
no, that makes sense.
The second thing that people don't do, and you see my name behind me here, right? It's up there. It's repeated 2 or 3 times because from one angle you might see it, from another angle you might not. This is the thing the mistake that we make the most. My wife just tried to call me. We've got our phones on mute here, but my wife just tried to call me. Do you know what my wife said to me the first time I asked her out? She said no.
No.
Right?
Of course she did. She was a smart lady, actually.
She's a smart lady. So I had to build a relationship with her. She had some misinformation for me. But did I never ever ask her out again? No, of course. I asked her out again and again. And then we started to build a relationship. We got to know each other. Use an automation to ask for a Google review. That's a great thing. I mean, obviously the best thing to do is ask in person. First of all, if you're in a serving relationship, whether you're putting in an air conditioning unit or giving them dinner and you know that they're not happy, A, you're going to not ask for a Google review probably and get a bad one. But B, you can figure out what the problem is or tell your boss back, "Hey, these people aren't happy. Can you give them a call and so we can deal with it?" But the next thing to do is ask them again and again and again. So my automation will literally send out 4 text messages and I send out 4 emails. And I send out the text message first because when you get a text message or you get a vibration in your pocket, what's the first thing you do? you look at it.
You look at it for sure,
You have
100%.
you have a 90% chance of getting someone to look at a text message. You have about a 40% chance of someone opening your email if they know you, right? If they don't
Right.
remember you, they're not going to open your email at all, or at least hopefully they won't, right? So I send out I ask in person, and then I do a follow-up text, and then a follow-up email, and a follow-up text. And I've literally never had anyone give me a negative review because I asked too many times. I've had people give me reviews because I asked so many times. And you're not being rude, you're just being persistent,
Yeah.
right? I'm a busy guy, right? I'm
Yeah.
running two businesses. I'm doing podcasts. I'm doing estimates. After I leave here, I'm going to hop in my truck and go measure something. So people don't have time. But if you send them a
Make it.
link in a text message, boom, it's done, right? And most people, I mean, you don't mind leaving Google reviews. You told me matter of fact, I only like leaving good reviews, you said. So most people don't mind leaving you a Google review. You just have to make it easy for them.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You got me thinking. Last week I went to a barbecue place. I'm in Texas, so, you know, a lot of barbecue down here.
Love it.
And the server was super nice, really nice attitude. And before we left, she handed me a card with a QR code on it. And she said, give us a review if you'd like. And it's just very, not pushy about it, just handed me the card.
Yeah.
And I did it. That's probably one of the first time I ever
you.
did it. And she actually wrote her name on the card, right? So I had her first name, not the whole name.
Yep.
And I mentioned something about her in it. So it was smart what she did. Now, it kind of ties into exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that's really good for that employee too. Like that kind of stuff shows up on performance reviews. And a lot of people, if you're a smart businessman, you will reward your employees for asking for Google reviews. Now, you cannot reward the client. And I won't work with anybody who, like, the car dealership I used to work for, leave us a review and get a $25 coupon for a free oil change or something like that, right? That skews your numbers. It's false reality anyways.
Yeah.
But so Google will literally suspend your Google profile. Can you imagine what would happen to my business if my GBP was suspended? That would hurt a lot. Like, that's my reputation. That's out there. So I don't work with people, and I do not recommend that you do anything to reward your clients for leaving you a Google review. But you can incentivize your sales team or your server team. That's a really smart thing to do. A, it makes them want to give better service, so that's a good thing. B, it makes them want to ask for reviews, so that's a good thing. Really, there's no downside to it. Like, Paul, when my business hit 300 Google reviews, now I'm 50% better than everybody in my city. I get business from New York. I get business from Texas. I get business from Los Angeles, from Quebec, from Toronto, from all over the world. I have clients in Australia, Japan, Spain now, right? Because my reputation now I'm not sending signs to Australia, right? Some of it is digital marketing, but I'm consulting now because they have maybe a retail location, or maybe they have a daughter in school, or they need something. Someone needs something done in Victoria, so they search best sign shop in Victoria or best marketing company in Victoria. By the way, I come up best for signs, not best for marketing, but I'm working on it.
There you go.
But now, if and here's the other great thing. If you search for best and I don't come up number one, let's say my competitor Graphic Effects or SignPad, or, these are all good guys, but they might come up because they got paid ads. So they come up and I come up number 3. If you see them with 300, one guy with 200 and me with 800, who are you going to call?
Yeah. No, good point.
I still the beneficiary. Even if I don't come up number 1, you're still going to come up in the map pack or whatever.
Yeah.
So here's
cool.
here's the thing I want to tell people. This doesn't have to cost you a ton of money. You can do it all yourself. You can do it manually, but really what's the cost of not doing it? Okay, if my average sale is $1,500 and I lose 2 opportunities in a month because I didn't take the time to invest in getting Google reviews, or I didn't take the time to optimize my Google business profile, the loss is not the $500 or $1,000 that I spent on optimizing that. And that's if you use a team, or you can do it all yourself. The loss is $3,000 in revenue this month because, right? So it's the lost opportunity, not the loss of your investment.
Yeah,
because
that makes complete sense.
Anybody's doing a good job for you, like SEO. I call it BSEO, right? The old way of doing it is dead. It's not search engine optimization because Google is the only search engine, really, right? Now it's search everywhere optimization. So that means optimizing for ChatGPT and for Grok and for, Gemini and all the AIs. But it also means optimizing for Google, even Apple. Google pays Apple to be their search engine, right? So whatever platform you're working on, you're somewhere in the Google universe. Now, I'm agnostic. I'm Christian, but I'm agnostic when it comes to operating systems. Okay, you can go on whatever operating system you want, and I will optimize it for you. But if Windows came up with the best thing, it still all comes down to your reputation, and they're all looking at what your reputation is, and that's your reviews. It could be Google. Now they combine them. Google, Facebook, whatever, they're advertising them. So work on your reputation. That's the number one thing you can do, because people don't care how smart you are. They care how ethical you are, how good a business you're doing, right? If you make beautiful products, but you do it in a slimy way, you're going to find, people are going to find out sooner or later.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. So if, John, if someone wanted to contact you, how would they do that? What's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
Easiest way to reach me is igetYouFound.com. That's what I do. That's what I'm good at doing, is I can get you found on the street, or I get you found online. igetYouFound.com. When you do that, you just put in your name and your email address, and I'm going to send you a copy of my I Get You Found playbook, which is the top 3 plays that you need to get found anywhere. And then once you're there, you're in my database, and you can reach out to me, and I'm gonna follow up with you. But yeah, that's the easiest way. Now, I'm actually gonna give you my cell phone number so people can text me, because sometimes people forget. 250-858-5999. Okay, I am a hands-on guy. I'm here to help you grow your business. By me growing your business, I grow my business.
Yeah, no, it's a win-win for everybody. Well, John, this was great. I really enjoyed this. This is something, having been in sales my whole life, it's always, how do you grow? It's something that you always think about. So I really enjoyed the conversation today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I guess we'll call it a wrap on that. John, again, really enjoyed having you on the show. This is great info, and hopefully you'll get some people to call you that need the help.
Yeah, thank you so much. I get excited about it. I keep telling myself, I got to put a note up here that says slow down, but I get excited, and I love doing the work. I love helping people, and I love that I get to make money doing it too, right? So it's a win-win-win, right?
Yeah, no, I can see the passion in your tone and your facial expression, so it's nice to see. Well, that's a wrap for the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. This is Paul Delegro. Till next time.